Hello, grade 4. Today we're talking about sound devices in poetry. So apart from imagery and those figures of speech that you've read earlier, we also have sound devices as parts of poetry. To start our lesson, let's take a look at what poetry first. When we say poetry, grade 4, we refer to a poem. So poetry or poem, they are the same. And we know that when we say poem, we have lines and stanzas, right? We talked about this already in our regular class. And since imagery is also closely related to poetry, we're also dealing with this one here. When we say imagery, this is when we create an image in our mind as we are reading a text. So this is one of the strategies of poets and authors to make their text interesting. This is when they make use of vivid words or adjectives to describe something so that readers can create an image in their mind as they are reading the poem or a certain text. And again, we call that imagery. Right, rhymes and rhythm are also present in poetry. We'll deal with rhymes later on. When we say rhythm, this is the musicality of a poem, just like what's present in songs or music. An example of poetry is Caliban in the Coal Mines. This is a text that you can see on page 315 in your book. Alright, so let's start with rhyme here. When we say rhyme, we refer to the similarity of sounds at the end of each line in a poem. It could also exist at the middle of the line, but most of the time rhyme pertains to the similar sounds that are existing at the end of each line. And here's an example. God, we don't like to complain. We know that the mine is no lark, but there's the pools from the rain, but there's the cold and the dark. So notice that we have similar sounds at the end of these lines. We have the words complain and the word rain. We also have lark and dark. So the sounds here are really similar. Aim, arc, and arc. So that is why they are called rhyme, because they have similar sounds at the end of those lines. With that being said, we can say that this poem made use of rhyme as its sound device to make it more interesting to the readers. Now, just real quick, let's talk about the content of this poem. God, we don't like to complain. So the speakers here are saying that they are not complaining, but they are just informing God of their experience, current experience, which is about their fear of the pools of the rain and the coldness and darkness of their situation. They're comparing their current place to a mine, and that they are also saying that there's no lark in there. When we say lark, we refer to a bird, and as we know it, lark or birds can fly anywhere. They can go anywhere they want to go. So we must say that lark is a symbol of freedom here. With that being said, we can say that in their situation, there is no lark or there's no freedom. Apart from that, they are afraid, just like someone is afraid when he or she is in a cold and dark place. Alright, so that's it for this poem. Okay, so I hope that's clear for everyone. This poem made use of rhyme because they have the lines have similar sounds at the end of them. So complain, rain, lark, and dark. Those are examples of rhyming words. Now let's talk about alliteration this time. When we say alliteration, we refer to the repetition of initial consonant or vowel sounds in each words made use in a certain poem. Here's an example. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. So notice the sound P at the beginning of those words, series of words. So P for Peter, P Piper, P picked a peck of pickled peppers. So we have the sounds of the letter P being repeated here in these lines. And when a poem makes use of the same example, then we consider that as alliteration. Again, alliteration, the repetition of initial consonant or vowel sound, just like the example that we have here. Now, onomatopoeia is another sound device that we can also see or we can encounter in poetry. And when we say onomatopoeia, we refer to words that imitate the sound that they express. And we can only further our understanding on this one when we take a look at these examples. So bark is an example of onomatopoeia. Bark is a word that refers to the barking of dogs, right? And it just sounds like its meaning. So arf, 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 or bark, bark, bark. It sounds like the barking of dogs. And so we consider that as onomatopoeia. Hum, when you hum, you'd sound like hum. And when you do that, the word hum sounds like what it really expresses. And that's the same as the splash of water. When you hear the splash of water, it will also sound like the word splash. Okay, so for as long as the word imitates the sound that they are producing, then we consider that onomatopoeia. Alright, so that's it for today, grade 4. What are the 3 sound devices that we just discussed? We have rhyme, which pertains to the similar sounds of words within or at the end of each line. Alliteration is another, which refers to the repetition of initial consonant or vowel sounds. And onomatopoeia, which refers to those words that imitate what they mean. Alright, so please enjoy the rest of your day, grade 4.